In today's video, I'm going to be building a LEGO clone base across the span of 3 days. Now before we make the base, we need to choose which clones we're going to be including in it. And the choices between the 501st or 212th Legion. Now although I have a lot more 501st troopers, I'm going to go with the 212th. Now that I've decided what clones I'm going to use, we can finally go into... For the layout of this base, I'm going to be using these two base plates. And the layout of this base is roughly going to be based off the base that Brickmaster Harry built, so I'm going to take some inspiration from that. I start off building the base by adding 2 points to connect the two base plates, so I build these two kind of pillars of sort, and then I just raise everything up by a single tile, as this will give it more contrast so you can tell where it raises up from the ground. But that's only one of the many steps I'm going to have to take to build this clone base. The next step of this building process is tiling off the floor. Now I need to be strategic about this because later on in this build, I'm going to want to lay down some decorations for the clone base. As later on in this build, I hopefully want to have a holo table, a computer of some sorts, and hopefully an armory, or just a place for the clones to put their weapons. But for this part, it's just mostly laying down plates. You can also see where I plan on standing the minifigures around the build, and in that little corner I'm going to put a crate there that will hold weapons for the clones. And I do want to apologize for the horrible cuts. I'd been going back and forth digging in bins looking for tiles, as I thought at the beginning of this build it would be much smaller than it actually turned out to be. So I needed to find all these pieces and then I'd knock over my tripod. So I just want to apologize for that. But other than that, there's not much more to say. This was the most repetitive part of the build, as I was just trying to figure out what would look the best. But even though this was such a repetitive process, once I kind of got into a groove of doing things, it was very easy. But now that I've got the floor all finished up, let's move on to... I start off day 2 by finishing the 2 front pillars that will kind of act as a door of sorts for the clone base, and then I start laying out the base of the walls, as I want to have a kind of 2-layer thing. So I want to go 2 bricks up, and then I want to switch from light bluish gray to dark bluish gray. Along with that, I want to make a connection point between these 2 base plates, another one. But once I get that all laid out, it's just a bunch of laying down where I want all these bricks to go. Before I finish the walls, I want to add some details to the front. First thing I added was this rock, and then I added this fuel canister of sorts to the front to also give another connection point between the 2 base plates. And even though it's not a lot of detail, I think a little will go a long way. Now, as I'm finishing up these walls, I'm going to add on the greebling techniques later, but with all that said, let's move on to... For day 3, I want to finish up the floor of the base and add a ceiling to the base. So I'm going to cut back once I add all the details to the inside. I'm finished building the inside of the base, and as you can see, I built a clone hollow table, a computer for one clone to use, and then there is a crate of weapons for one clone, and there's this control panel that is used for the turret I made for the top of the base. And although I had a very small space to work with for the inside of the space, I feel like I did a pretty good job. Here's the top of the clone base. As you can see, there is a little turret on top. That is what the control panel inside is used for. And although the top of the clone base is very simplistic, I plan on improving it later on. All in all, I think this was a pretty good first mock for this channel, and I plan on making more bases like this. Make sure to comment down below your ideas. And with all that said, thank you for watching this video, and make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this.